tenable at its main campus at Nguludi in Chiradzulu. Those with Malawi School Certificate of Education (MSCE) or its equivalent plus credits in not less than 4 subjects including English and an aggregate of not more than 30 points are eligible to apply. Catholic University of Malawi has the Faculty of Commerce, Faculty of Education, Faculty of Law, Faculty of Nursing and Midwifery, Faculty of Science, Faculty of Social Sciences. Candidates of all faiths are welcome to apply. You can find application forms at the university campus at Montfort Nguludi in Chiradzulu, the Catholic Secretariat Area 11 in Lilongwe, St. John's Secondary School in Lilongwe, Marymount Secondary School and Mzuzu Technical College in Mzuzu, and all Catholic Diocesan Education Officers in Karonga, Mzuzu, Lilongwe, Dedza, Mangochi, Zomba, Blantyre and Chikwawa. Application forms can also be downloaded from the university website at www.cunima.ac.malawi. Applicants should pay a non-refundable application fee of 10,000 Malawi kwacha for local students or $25 for foreign students. The university will not receive cash, postal orders or check payment. The university does not have Mpamba or Airtel Money account. Applicants are being advised to deposit the non-refundable application fee into one of the university's bank accounts held at the following banks: National Bank of Malawi, Customs Road Branch, account number 1928694. Catholic University of Malawi, NBS Bank, Limbi Branch, account number 14421. Closing date for receiving applications is 6th January 2023.
Hello and thank you for joining us right here on Luntha Television. It's time for news. Enjoy with me, Jacqueline Saidi. Now the headlines. Pope Francis prays for children suffering in Ukraine. Bishop Mtumbuka crushes Manib's comments on best top 10 scores in Manib examinations. Chekwera appoints Kashket suspect Kate Kamwangala as ESCOM board director. And in other news, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa defies scandal to win party vote. We have these and more. Stay with us. The Holy Father Pope Francis has urged everyone to remember and pray for the children of Ukraine. Speaking as he met with young people assisted by the Vatican's Santa Marta Pediatric Dispensary, the Pope recalled the many children of Ukraine who will be unable to celebrate Christmas due to the war and unrest in their country. Further, he said, though we cannot be with our brothers and sisters in Ukraine physically, we can help by remembering and giving them our thoughts and prayers, just as the Lord gave us this joy to celebrate Christmas like this, all together with our families in peace. We have a Vatican News report being read by Tandiwe Nzumara.
As Christmas approaches next Sunday, Pope Francis recalled the many children of Ukraine who will be unable to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ in peace and security. Meeting with children assisted by the Vatican's Santa Marta Pediatric Dispensary on Sunday, as well as their parents and volunteer staff, the Pope urged everyone to pray for peace in Ukraine. He said, as Christians, we must not forget the children of Ukraine, as so many of them are suffering from war and in other parts of the world where they also suffer from injustice. He pointed to a Ukrainian flag in the Paul VI Hall where the audience took place and noted the word peace written on it. Separately, at the Angelus Prayer in St. Peter's Square, Pope Francis again prayed for peace in Ukraine and for all those suffering from the ongoing war. Separately, at the Angelus Prayer in St. Peter's Square, Pope Francis again prayed for peace in Ukraine and for all those suffering from the ongoing war. He said, may the Virgin Mary touch the hearts of those who can put a stop to the war in Ukraine, and that may we never forget the suffering of those people, especially of children, the elderly, and those who are ill.
Right, Reverend Bishop Martin Mtumbuka of the Catholic Church has spoken hard against comparing examination results of students from high resourceful schools and those from low resourceful schools, saying it is being unjust. The bishop was saying this in Mangochi during the 30th year commemoration of the 1992 Pastorata, written by the Catholic bishops and organized by the Catholic University of Malawi. According to the bishop, it is wrong to compare results of students who are few in class with enough teachers and resources to students who are many in class with low learning materials and a few teachers who worked too hard to deliver their services. Rashida Matandika reports.
The commemoration brought together scholars who scrutinized the pastoral letter based on the concerns raised 30 years ago, and one of them was the education sector. By then, the concern was that the standards of education were not good, and 30 years down the line, the situation has not much changed, according to Dr. Limbanin Sapato, country director of Educans Foundation Malawi, who represented civil society organizations. He said despite that there are strides that have been made, the education standards are still low as there are not enough learning materials in public schools and most rural children are suffering. He attributed the challenge to poor allocation of money in the education system by government.
What we are pushing for as civil society is that government needs to invest more in education. The government should comply with the international benchmark of allocating not less than 6% of the GDP to education. Right now, government is only providing 4% of the GDP, and that is affecting the availability of resources. So, indeed, we are going back to a situation where fees were a factor for participation of children, and government needs to address this issue by investing more in education.
Dr. Nsapato's presentation also tackled the recent Malawi School Certificate of Education results, which showed results of top 10 schools that have brought in good results as compared to other schools, with community-day secondary schools being the least of all. The top 10 schools are the ones that Manebo highly praised, but reacting to the praises, His Lordship Bishop Martin Mtumbuka has crushed the praises, saying it is unjust and unfair to compare two different groups that were not given same opportunities in learning.
It's wrong just to take a couple of schools because of their average performance and say these are the top best, because you are comparing schools that are very different. Some schools have 120 from 4s, some have 12. Some were selected after students after a lot of scrutiny. Some came from schools that you would not have otherwise made to these private schools, you know, but they came from primary schools maybe with 1 or 2 teachers and nothing. So comparing and likes not good. It's good to bracket them among the private schools. This is the best. Maybe CDSS, this is the best. Grant aided, this is the best. Or government, national, this is the best. Because then you are comparing likes, you know. But you can't compare and likes. It really doesn't make any sense. Well, it is something, but if you were teaching 150 students and you have 120 have passed very well, or 134 or 140, you've done a lot. And your friend was teaching 12 students, and 13 have passed. 11, he'll be rated to have done better than you. This is why I say, no, you don't do this. No.
The bishop has also asked the country to stop bowing down to every donor demand, saying that some of the policies that they bring in are useless, citing the policy of asking rural pupils to learn in their mother tongue language, while duty bearers and well-to-do people have their children learning in English in private schools as an example of selfishness. For Luntha TV in Mangochi, this is Rashida Matandika reporting.
Speaking about the 1992 pastoral letter, the bishop described it as being unique in that it changed things in the one-party government. He has also said that the current pastoral letters might seem useless as compared to the mother letter, but they have a value like that of a stumbling block where they do not mean to make sense or have people applaud, but to speak to souls that whoever listens should change. Hear this.
During the presentations, it was noted that the pastoral letters have become predictable, that people get to sniff around asking when the next letter would be out, and sometimes predicting the issues that might be raised, rendering them not as important as the 1992 letter that came as a bomb to the nation. However, the bishop said the pastoral letters are the usual homilies and they will keep on coming as long as they serve their purpose.
Pastoral letters are ultimately homilies, so you don't abandon them because you preach there and only 2 got converted or 1. Homilies are homilies. The pastoral letters are not novels. They are ultimately homilies, so we have to go on. The bishops have to continue teaching us. The bishops have to continue reminding us of our faith and also reminding our country as of its responsibility. But they are ultimately homilies, drafted in a different way, and you don't change your homily because not many people are acting positively as a result of those homilies. So you go on.
The Vice-Chancellor of the Catholic University, Dr. Father George Blair, said they are glad they organized the commemoration and that as a university, they are also teaching their students ethics that will help change the nation just to fulfill the 1992's later agendas.
Difficult question, yes, but we are trying as a university. As a university, anybody and everybody that passes through the corridors of the Catholic University will have to do an ethics course, Catholic social teaching, which is grounded in the values of social justice, in the values of community living, the values that underpin society from a Christian perspective. So whatever program that you are taking at the university, you'll be grounded in those values. And I think we've been reliably informed. I think that our students, our products are doing very, very well in that regard because of this grounding.
At the end of it all, the publishing company that took the risk of publishing and distributing the letter was awarded for fulfilling a nearly impossible mission. Recalling the scenes of the distribution, Father Jojo Gamba, Managing Director of Montfort Media Publications Limited, said the bishops were really secretive.
Yeah, the pastoral letter, after the printing, each diocese was to send somebody to collect the pastoral letters. And many were the ambulances of the sisters who were coming on behalf of a hospital or clinic, say, we have come to take medicines. And that was how the pastoral letter reached every outstation, every parish without any problem, because even the police would not question what was in the carton of an ambulance.
The Catholic University also recognized the Bishop Emeritus, Right Reverend Aaron Changwela of Zomba Diocese, who was part of the bishops who wrote the letter in 1992, and his painting was received on his behalf by Father Innocent Chiwanda. For Luntha TV in Mangochi, this is Rashida Matantika reporting.
St. Stephen Mpagati Catholic Women Organization on Sunday paid a visit to children in conflict with the law incarcerated at Maula prison in order to encourage them to remain steadfast in their Christian faith despite being limited in some freedoms. The organization, which is under St. John's Msamba Parish in Area 36 in the Archdiocese of Lilongwe, also treated the children to a sumptuous meal and donated assorted food and non-food items to the children to enable them partake in Christmas festivities. Bernard Monza reading a report which was compiled by Watabaso Mzungu.
Malawi Prison Service recently relocated over 200 children in conflict with the law from Kachele Reformation Center in Area 1 to Maula Prison Area 6 to pave the way for the occupation of the facility by female inmates. Prior to the sharing of the food, one of the women, Patricia Magalasi, asked the children in conflict with the law to use the term in incarceration to mend their relationship with God and be transformed into responsible citizens afterwards. Magalasi, who read from Matthew chapter 11 verse 21 to 30 and Matthew chapter 19 verse 13, assured the children that God still loves them in spite of being in conflict with worldly laws. She said Jesus is merciful and he is ready to accept their repentance, and that once they repent their sins, God will forgive and give them peace of mind, even within the precincts of the walls, adding that incarceration is nothing in the eyes of God, but just a time to allow his children to reflect on their lives. She also assured the children that Catholic women, as mothers, will continue praying and interceding for them until they are out of incarceration. St. Stephen Impagati CWO chairperson Stella Kumwenda said the visitation was aimed at inspiring the children in conflict with the law to keep their faith in Jesus Christ despite facing challenges in the reformatory institution.
We should be mindful that not all those who are here wronged the law. Some might have gone into this because they failed to explain their situation, so visiting them is such a great motivation to them.
Some of the groceries donated apart from the food include soap, body lotion and sugar, all totaling to about 600,000 kwacha.
Remember, you're still watching news right here on Luntha television. Now, a reminder of the headlines. Pope Francis prays for children suffering in Ukraine. Bishop Mtumbuka crushes Manib's comments on best top 10 scores in Manib examinations. Chekwera appoints Kashket suspect Kate Kamwangala as ESCOM board director. And in other news, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa defies scandal to win party vote. Moving forward, President Lazarus Chekwera has arrived from Washington, D.C., United States of America, where he attended the U.S.-Africa Summit. During his trip to the USA, Chekwera spoke alongside 48 other African presidents about the trade investment inflows into Malawi and Africa in general, where they discussed on way forward within the new boundary of the African Continental Free Trade Area in a free trade. He also interacted with officials from the World Bank, where they assured their commitment to continue supporting Malawi, saying they have in place $50 million, which is about 51 billion kwacha, to support maize purchases and the fight against cholera. They also added that they have $100 million, which is about 102 billion kwacha of support through an emergency health project that will support recruitment expenditure to get health personnel in place and other needs in the sector. The aim of the summit was focusing on renegotiating the parameters of investment and trade between Africa and the US in the context of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. President Chakwera has appointed other individuals in the public offices. This is testified in last week's appointments of questionable characters into parastatal board. The president made the appointments barely a few weeks after he dissolved the boards, citing incompetence. We have a report by Hilbert Katanda.
Surprisingly, Chakwera has appointed Kashket suspect Skets Kamuranga into ESCOM board as a director. Kamuranga appointment comes amid poor performance of the utility board. Not only that, Chakwera has also rewarded Brown Pinganjira for joining Malawi Congress Party, appointed as board chair for the Southern Region Water Board. Pinganjira is former People's Party vice president for the South. The development comes barely months after Pinganjira dumped the opposition Democratic Progressive Party, where he was serving as spokesperson, and joined the MCP. Many people on social media have described the appointment as a reward to Pinganjira, who promised to woo people in the South and vote for Chakwera in the forthcoming 2025 presidential polls. In an interview on Monday, Center for Democracy and Economic Development Executive Director Sylvester Namiwa said the president's decision reflects a failed leadership.
From where we are standing, we feel vindicated because we saw all this coming. This is why, in our first 100 days analysis, we want the Malawians to brace for wasted 5 more years. Today we can stand and walk tall because we've been vindicated. All the ills which we are accusing DPP of, today they are much worse than were 2 years ago. Now, talking about the appointment of a suspect into a board, this reminds me of a saying that show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are. All these appointments is just a true reflection of the factors of the appointing authority.
Chakwera went further, poaching Frank Manefumbo, who resigned from UTM as publicity secretary last month. Manefumbo is now board chairperson for the Northern Region Water Board. UTM and MCP are currently not working together as per a Tones Alliance agreement. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, I'm Hilbert Katanda.
The Malawi National Examinations Board, MANEP, through the Ministry of Education, has announced an extension of days for payment of examination fees for this year's national examinations to 12 midnight on 31st of December 2022. Confirming the development to Luntha Television, MANEP's spokesperson, Mayami Koshiwaya, said that the extension comes amid public outcry as a lot of people are sailing through economic constraints. She further said they want to give room for people to source the money, as a lot of people claim it was a short notice, and parents and guardians who want to pay through TNM, Bamba or Airtel money are advised not to use an agent but their TNM and Airtel accounts. Bridget Monuka filed this report.
In her remarks, Chiwaya cited various pleas for the board to extend the 2023 Malawi School Certificate of Examinations MSE registration period as to what prompted them to come up with the decision. She then clarified that this applies to the Primary School Leaving Certificate exams, PSLCE, Junior Certificate of Education, JCE exams, and Malawi School Certificate of Education, MSE exams. And for example, candidates for this year's MSE are supposed to pay 26,000 or 30,000 kwacha.
An extension has been made is that with the e-registration and e-payment system, we are able to monitor the transactions that are taking place at each and every school. So we observed that out of the total number of candidates who had registered for the 2023 PSLC, JC and MSc examination, there was still about 3% of those that had registered who did not pay examination fees. So we are trying to accommodate them, to give them more time so that they source the funds and make sure that they make payment by the 31st December, that is midnight.
Isama President Wycliffe Jimendo, who was also lobbying for an extension, said this will increase chances for students who want to rewrite the exams to fulfill their dreams and give ample time to guardians to source the money.
We are so happy that Manipu responded positively to our request to have the payment of examinations, madam examination extended. We saw that the 16th date was a bit awkward, considering that many haven't yet received their pay for December. At the same time, we also saw the need that those that have just received results of MSCE may wish to go back and write exams, and this was a chance that they can pay and go back to school and write exams and get better grades.
This extension comes after Minister of Education Agnes Nyalonje also told the just-ended Parliament session that following the public outcry on the exorbitant fees and short period of payment, they may consider extending the dates, acknowledging that many parents and guardians had failed to meet the deadline due to economic hardships. Parents and guardians are therefore advised to pay the fees through TNM Mpamba, Airtel Money, National Bank MO626, NBS is a bank, FDH Bank, and Standard Bank Unayo. Those who want to pay using TNM Mpamba and Airtel Money are also advised not to use an agent, but rather their TNM Mpamba and Airtel Money accounts. Bridget Manoka, for Luntha News in Lilongwe.
Social commentator Lakembewe has called on government to ensure that there is seriousness in as far as ensuring law and order in Malawi is concerned. He made the sentiments today following an incident involving a 40-year Nigerian national identified as Anthony Ojuku, who was found in possession of 20 blisters of illicit drugs suspected to be cocaine without a license. According to Mbewe, such conduct by foreign nationals is worrisome, saying it tampers with lives of serious citizens, especially young people who are usual customers and get distorted immediately after intoxication. Hear this.
Around town. It speaks volumes in terms of, laxity by the law enforcement agencies. Stories around Nigerians possessing firearms that are not registered, drugs, substances and all that has been the order of the day. But unfortunately, there has been so much kind of kid class treatment to them when they are found. So this is very serious because it tampers with the lives of innocent citizens and young people. Their usual customers usually are young people, and when they're intoxicated, their figure is distorted immediately.
Meanwhile, Inspector Hastings Chigalu said police arrested the man on December 18th, 2022 in Lilongwe after invading Epic Bar in Area 10 at around 2 o'clock in the morning, after being tipped that some foreign nationals were selling suspected hard drugs to patrons at the said drinking joint. Charity Chilanga caught up with Inspector Chigalu.
Lilongwe Police Station is keeping in custody Anthony Ojuku, a 40-year-old Nigerian national, a resident of Area 49 here in Lilongwe, after he was arrested at Epic Bar in Area 10 in the wee hours of Sunday for being found in possession of dangerous drugs. without a license. In fact, our drug detectives hit the ground at 2 a.m. on Sunday after a tip-off that some foreign nationals were selling suspected hard drugs to patrons at the said breaking joint. So upon search, Ojukwu was found with 20 blisters of the suspected cocaine, and his accomplice managed to escape the scene. So Ojukwu will appear in court anytime soon to answer a case of found in possession of dangerous drugs, which contravenes Regulation 4A as read with Section 19 in bracket 1 of dangerous drugs. Meanwhile, the suspected cocaine has been sent to our colleagues at PMRA, the Farmers and Medicines Regulatory Authority, for analysis.
In other news, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has been re-elected as the governing ANC's leader to wild cheers from his supporters. He defeated his rivals William Kize by 2,476 votes to 1,897. Ramaphosa won despite being dogged by allegations of money laundering and a last-minute surge in support for Mr. Mkhize, who has also been accused of corruption. Both deny the allegations. His victory puts him in poor position to lead the ANC in the 2024 election. But he is still at risk as he is being investigated by police, the tax office and central bank of allegations that he stashed at least $580,000 US in a sofa at his private farm and then covered its theft. A panel of legal experts appointed by the Speaker of Parliament said that he has a case to answer, as he may have both violated the Constitution and broken an anti-corruption law. Well, with that, we conclude the news. Now the headlines before we go. Pope Francis prays for children suffering in Ukraine. Bishop Mtumbuka crushes Manib's comments on best top 10 scores in Manib examinations. Chakwera appoints Kashket suspect Kate Kamwangala as ESCOM board director. And in other news, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa defies scandal to win party vote. My name is Jacqueline Saidi. Thank you very much for watching Luntha television and stay safe.